Hold on. What is up, people? What is up, people? This is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, the Virginia real estate agent, and I think we have a good show for you today. We want to talk about what's going on in the market on what is the first day of school for Fairfax County. I know I'm enjoying my having had my kids at their first day of school. Our oldest son started ninth grade, and our youngest son started seventh grade at Hayfield Secondary School in Fairfax County. So it was a good day for them. We've already heard back from them. They've had a good day. I hope that if you have kids in the public school system and today is their first day, that they also had a good day, uneventful, but filled with maybe new friendships, new relationships. So we haven't been on in a while. We had a busy summer between summer camps, traveling, and whatnot, but there has been a lot of changes that have been going on in the real estate market, the local real estate market, right? Northern Virginia, um, quite impressively, has slowed down even more than it normally does during the summer season. Now, you have to know that usually in Northern Virginia, our spring season starts around March. It's an early spring season, but we really start to see the sales start to increase in March. And then they kind of keep steady through the end of school, which is usually around the mid-June, right? So we start to see our sales actually start to decrease in late June, July, and August timeframe. This year is a little bit different. While we did have the same slowdown, we also had the interest rates increasing at a rapid pace, but really moving from the 2.5 to 5% mark where they are right now, and that has had a huge impact on our market because the prices have increased so much, right? So I want to go over a few numbers with you to kind of show the evidence to support this claim, and then just kind of give you an idea of what else I'm seeing right now in the market. If you're going into the market, whether or not you're a seller or a buyer, there's just some things that you should probably know before entering the market. Okay. You just want to make yourself aware of these things. If you were shopping for a property in January, like we have a couple clients that were trying to buy a house in January, February timeframe, they put their process on hold. They're going to be starting back up in November, December this year. It's going to be quite different for them when they start to look with the new interest rates, right? What they can qualify for, how a lot of the properties or a lot of the prices haven't really come down that much, even though there's less demand in the market. So you just have to be aware of some of these things, right? So let's get into the numbers. We're going to be looking at numbers from July 13th to August 12th. This gives us the most recent data to look at. We can't look at data from a few days ago because it usually takes real estate agents about 5 to 7 days to kind of upload everything into the MLS. So we don't have the freshest data when it comes to sales. And it takes real estate agents, it usually takes a closing. Once a closing occur, it usually takes about 2 business days to receive your commission check. So agents are still processing all the information. So we're using July 13th to August 12th, and we're going to compare last year to this year. The biggest number I like to look at, or the number that has been very telling through this interesting market since the pandemic, right? Since the pandemic, is over asking. How many properties have sold over asking? In 2021, for the same time period that we're looking at, 56% of the homes sold over asking. But for this year, we already have seen a reduction, which is actually the first month since January that we've actually seen the number of properties selling over asking actually start to decrease. I mean, this number got as high as the mid 70s, 70% to low 80% earlier in the year. So what this is telling us is that demand has dropped, but you shouldn't expect to steal a house, or you shouldn't expect to get an amazing deal on a property. Prices are still holding steady, and I don't think that we're going to see any changes when it comes to this aspect of the market, because we've also already have seen a huge decrease in the number of available listings even compared to last year. So since homeowners have already responded to the lack of inventory, the lack of demand, it's almost constricting the market again. So we almost have this artificial housing shortage in our current market, even with the interest rates decreasing. So I think we're going to continue to see that this over asking number is showing us that properties are still selling over asking. So that means that there's still a lot of demand. So if you're in the market to buy, you're still going to have to deal with that. Okay. Now, average sales price has only gone up 5%, but keep in mind that's still an increase from last year. So this is telling us that in addition to properties selling over asking, almost half of all properties sold over asking price in this time period we're looking at. We still have the prices of properties still increasing. So you're going to be buying a property right now at a higher sales price than last year and a higher interest rate. So that's going to affect your monthly payment. And I would caution you against receiving any advice from a real estate agent or a mortgage professional where they tell you, hey, look, interest rates are high right now, but you can always refinance in the future, right? In the future. Or we're starting to see products come out. Those products, if just be cautious with this information. You got to remember now, real estate agents, we only make money when we sell you a property or when we sell a property. Mortgage professionals are the same way. They only make money when you secure a loan. So that means that both of these parties are incentivized to make you, or to encourage you, or to cause the transaction process to be as frictionless as possible. So if you go into this process taking advice from a real estate agent or a loan professional, or if you're watching the news and people are starting to say right now that you can get a great deal on a property, you just have to keep in mind your monthly payment right now is going to be at its highest point than it's ever been, in several years, right? Several years. Like I think there's all kinds of memes on social media about how some of these interest rates haven't been seen for decades now. So just keep that in mind. You're making I want to make sure I'm clear that you are making a long-term decision by buying a property, especially in the Northern Virginia area. As you can see, our average sales price is $688,000. This is going to be like a 7 to 10 year um, move for you. And so, as long as you're comfortable with staying in the property that you're in for 7 to 10 years, I don't foresee you having any challenges with selling in the future. But if you're only here for a temporary period of time, or you're uncertain about your employment, right? Or maybe you're thinking about switching careers, or maybe your familiar status is about to change, you may want to be cautious moving into this particular market. Okay. This is not, and I got to say this is not the time to, I mean, adjustable rate mortgages have their place, right? They're starting to have longer term adjustable rate mortgages too, like 7 year arms. I've even heard about 10 year arms where the mortgage rate doesn't adjust for several years out. But these products are designed to get you to transact. If 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 buying a property is a part of your long term goal, then just move forward confidently and comfortably, and just know that the interest rate that you have right now, you should be able to comfortably pay that for the next 10 years. Okay. the next 10 years, yes, sure, interest rates move throughout our history. We have no idea how they're going to move. And as you can see from the last 7 months, no one was able to really predict what was going to happen. Next thing I want to look at is days on market. So this just tells us how quickly properties are selling right now. While the days on market did decrease by 18%, the days on market are still relatively low at 15 days to sell to purchase a property, right? Or to sell a property. So that means that when you see a property go on the market, that property will usually be on the market for about 2 weeks on average. This is good news for our buyer clients because some of our buyer clients, especially at the beginning of the year, they were stressed at buying a property because you really only had one shot to see a property because days on market had dipped below 10 days on market. So that means that the day, usually our properties come on the market on Thursdays and then they go under contract on Mondays or Tuesdays after a showing weekend, right? So usually we were putting in offers on Sundays. Sometimes we would put in offers on Saturdays, but that means you only got like one chance to see a property. Right now, you can take a little bit more time, right? Maybe you can see a property and then breathe and then put an offer, but we still see transactions moving quite quickly. If you're after, if you're the type of buyer that's very particular, right, and you know that you want a certain type of product, a finished product, a product that's already tastefully decorated in a great location, located in some of our top school zones, then those properties are flying off the market still. There's still heavy demand for great properties. It's really when you get into those average looking properties or just a run of the mill townhouse or a run-of-the-mill single-family house, just your average single-family house, those properties are starting to sit just a little bit, not much, right? Because what we're seeing is that we're seeing people go after those not higher end, but those more higher demand properties, lose out on those, and then just go and pick up, just an average everyday, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom townhouse or 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath single family house throughout the region. So just know that if you're shopping for any one of those products, condos are still selling at the same pace that they were selling before. I really don't understand why condos aren't selling at a higher clip, seeing that more and more people are priced out of the townhouse market. But a lot of the condos are really located closer into the city, and some of those areas have lower rated public schools, which then makes it challenging for families with kids. So I get that. I get that. But I still think that a lot of people, when they move to Northern Virginia, are missing out on starting the home buying process with a condo as soon as you move down here. If you got yourself a condo as soon as you move down here, that means that you have 5-7 years of building equity inside that in that condo, and you could then use that equity to transition to a townhouse or a larger property once you kind of know the area, or once maybe your employment status evolves as well, right? All right, so before we go on, let's get a little comment here. All right, so Blake McBlain says, thank you, Blake, for jumping in. Blake says townhouses falling too in some areas, right? So Blake, you got to keep in mind that Northern Virginia is a very large area. The most demand that we have for properties is going to be in Arlington, and then as you move away from the Arlington area, demand starts to dip down a little bit as you move into the Fairfax County area. Still parts of northern Fairfax County, like the Tysons, Reston area, you're still going to have even McLean and stuff like that. You're still going to have a lot of demand for those areas because they have the higher rated public schools. Also, they're close proximity to a lot of the employment bases. But then when you go into Loudoun, I mean, Loudoun is still moving. Loudoun is moving. So I don't know if the townhouses are going to have that much of a challenge selling in Northern Virginia because townhouses are our first time home buyer product, right? So most of our first time home buyers are moving into five, six, $700,000 townhouses, and it's very challenging to find a $700,000 single family home, right? Unless you move into Burke or Springfield, and then you're really looking at maybe like an $800,000 single family house. So townhouses, yes, in certain areas they are starting to drop in price, but in high demand areas and in close proximity to employment bases, those properties are still moving. But thank you, Blake, for the question. Oh, let's see. Blake also says, Loudoun is seeing so much demand. People are getting exhausted with Arlington. They tell me every day, even upper middle class is priced out. Well, consider this. Loudoun offers a lot of people something you really can't get in nowhere in Northern Virginia. You can get a single family home on a nice lot for $900,000. Now, I know $900,000 seems like a lot of money, and I'm not saying it's not, but just in Northern Virginia, that's it's par for the course for single family homes. You're not going to get a 900,000. You're not going to spend $900,000 in most of Fairfax County, nowhere in Arlington for a single family home. So if you don't mind the commute, then Loudoun is a great alternative for you. I would also add that if we look at the employment bases that are available for residents of Loudoun, you could work at Reston or Tyson's Corner and still have a very comfortable commute. So I don't think that a lot of Loudoun residents are going to the Pentagon or to DC. I think that we're seeing a lot of those higher income employees that are in the Tyson's Corner and also the Reston area just choosing to go into Loudoun, which is causing a lot of demand. Because if you stay in Fairfax County, um, with those, let's say for instance you make $170,000 to $250,000 a year, then you're still gonna have an older product. You're gonna have an older product. You're gonna have schools that vary in ratings, where Loudoun just gives you a product, I think a complete product compared to the rest of the region. If you don't mind the suburbs, right? So some people don't mind the suburbs, so Loudoun is okay for them. All right, Blake says, when they open up the Ashburn Metro Station is going to explode. I don't know, because one of the reasons why I don't know about whether or not the Ashburn Metro Station will cause much more development, because developers or even speculators usually take current information and then they use that information to make their investments. So because we already know that the Ashburn Metro Station is already being developed, a lot of the development that you're seeing right now is really in response to that metro station. I would also say that Loudoun does if you notice how most of the development in Loudoun is really towards that eastern side of Loudoun, that part of Loudoun I think is going to be one of the more what's the word I want to use? One of the most developed sections of Loudoun. I think that Loudoun residents overall don't want to see Loudoun become the next Fairfax County. So I think they're going to protect like the central part of Loudoun and also the western part. So we're not going to really see that much development out there, which means that Loudoun only has so much land to develop in that space. So I think that the Ashburn Loudoun area, eastern part of Loudoun area, is still going to be in high demand. I just think that the demand we see right now, or with the builders that are building right now, is really already in response to the metro station. But thanks for that question. All right, so another thing I want to talk about is like what else am I seeing out in the market right now? Because properties are taking a little bit longer to sell, and because demand has dipped, and because days on market has increased, the sales prices aren't jumping by 10, 12, 15% like they were last year. That means that there are ugly properties right now in the market that are just sitting. I was out with a buyer last week we were looking at some townhouses in the Kingstowne, Burke, Springfield area in that 600 up to $600,000 price range, and the number of properties that were just sitting, also that were in horrible condition for this market, right? See, 4 or 5 months ago, the same properties that have poor pictures, that have questionable design, questionable aesthetics or decor, were still flying off the market because people didn't have a choice if they were buying during the peak season. Now that we see less demand, now that we see higher interest rates, and also I think what we're seeing is people who were buying in that let's say up to June, people who were making those purchases up to June, they've been shopping ever since January. So they've already become accustomed to, okay, great, my interest rate is going to be high. Okay, great, the prices are going to be high, but I still want to buy a house. And so they were just completing their transaction, even though they may have transacted in late April, May, June, right? Now, this season of buyers have either started the buying process in that May, June, July timeframe, and they are now seeing that demand is slowing down, and they're responding to that demand. So I think you just have to be, if you're on the buy side, just know that you're still going to see some properties that you're going to wonder, what was the seller thinking putting this house on the market in this condition? You have to remember their neighbors just 3 months ago sold at a high price, right? In no time, doing no work on the property. So you have these people who are still in the same mindset from the previous market. Case in point, so we helped the buyer buy a house in Kingstowne. That's where I live. Hope that you want to live there too. Shout out, give us a call or a text, or complete the perfect home questionnaire if you're ready to make a move. But we live in Kingstowne, so we helped one of our friends purchase a property in Kingstowne. They bought a townhouse for $650,000, right? So they bought a townhouse for $650,000, and let's see, let's just say that these are all townhouses, right? So my client bought this property for 650,000. The property right next door came on the market 2 weeks after we went under contract, right? They came on the market at the same price that we were under contract for. They came on at $650,000. They recently sold, and it took them a while to sell. They recently sold for 605. What was different about this property? Nothing. They were both similar updates, similar. They're in Kingstowne, so similar layout, same square footage. Not really much that's different, other than one property came on the market a little bit later, and now that particular seller got $45,000 less than my client just a few months ago, right? So you see, $45,000 less. Do you know how long it takes most people to make $45,000, and to lose $45,000 just because you came on the market 2 weeks later? That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a tough pill to swallow. So we see a lot of sellers right now still reminiscing about the price they could have got, reminiscing about what they could have done if they just came on the market a little bit earlier. And that's, it's challenging for these individuals who are selling, right? Another thing I want to talk about is that we're starting to see a lot more sellers start to take their properties off the market and actually rent them. Yes. I don't understand this strategy at all, right? I don't understand the strategy at all, because what it says to me is that it says that the seller believes that because the person is already trying to sell the property, so that means that they're trying to get out. So it's not something that it's not like they're an investor. When the seller takes their property off the market, especially after we've had an up market where some markets have increased by 150, 175, $225,000, and now your property may be worth maybe $50,000 less than the highest of the highs, right? And then you take your property off the market to rent. What that seller is signaling to us as real estate professionals, right? I don't think that consumers are looking at it like this, but what that signal to us is that this person believes that the market is going to increase even more in the future. I got to let you know there's no data that support that position. Outside of the pandemic, Northern Virginia was just moving along at a 3% clip as far as appreciation goes. I mean, in one of the years, I believe it was 2017 or 2018, don't quote me on that. We'll have a video about this, but we only had like 1% increase in equity, right? In appreciation. So this is just a big gamble to move into the rental space. And I'll say, case in point, I had a rental client or a landlord client that sold their property near Fair Oaks Mall. It was a townhouse, and the reason why they were selling that townhouse is because their tenant, caused $70,000 in damages. Now, is that a lot? Yes, that is a lot. Is that something to is that an outlier? Yes, it is an outlier, but it doesn't stop the fact that there's wear and tear on a property because somebody's living there. You are taking a gamble by not taking your winnings, right, because of this upmarket, and moving into the rental phase, right? Going from a seller who was trying to get out to a landlord, I think is risky. And I also believe that it's one of those things that you're not going to be pleased with the final outcome of what your profit was after you consider vacancy, repairs, tenant turnover, also paying for a management company if you're moving out of the area, and just how long it takes to really make money playing this particular game. Now, if you're in it um, for a while, kudos to you. That could be a great strategy. Now, I want to talk about one more thing. If you are renting the property out, right? So, and I kind of talked to some of my friends and clients about this. Now, I'm not a CPA, so consult with a CPA. Let's just put that up at the top right here. Consult with CPA. Oh, before we go on, I think we have a question here. Let's see. All right. McBain says, advice for renters trying to buy out their owner. If you're a renter trying to buy out your owner, I would just make them an offer, right? Before you make the offer, I would do a home inspection on the property. I would already have a home inspection done. Once you have that home inspection, I would then make the owner a offer and see what they say. I do not recommend telling the owner, hey, I'm thinking about buying a property. I recommend just sending them an offer with a pre-approval letter, right? Saying that you can close in a certain period of time, and something that removes the home inspection altogether, because you want to show them that you're serious about buying a property, and you've already taken the necessary steps. Yes, this idea is going to cost you money, right? Because you will have to pay for the home inspection. Home inspections cost anywhere from $500 to $700, depending on if you also add on a radon inspection and what company you use. But I think that this is the best strategy if you want to be successful, right? If you want to be successful. All right. So consult CPA. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So remember, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an attorney. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. So you have to stay in your property for the last 3 or 5 years. It's either 2 or 5 years or last 3 of the 5 years to still count your property as a primary residence. So when I have a client who is moving out of the area, but they don't know if they're going to stay in their current market, in their new location, if they don't know if they're going to like it or not, what I tell them to do is I tell them to rent out your property for 2 years, right? That gives you enough time to see if you like your new location, see if you can stand your new environment. If you can't, then you could just either come back to your property, right? So in year 3, you could either move back in, or you could just sell it, and then you don't have to worry about your capital gains tax, right? Now, remember, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax accountant, so consult that individual. But I think that this is a good strategy if you're not sure about your next move and you don't want to relinquish your lower interest rate that you have right now, or you don't really have a need for the equity that's in your property right now. A lot of people don't sell their properties even if they have equity, because there's really not a pressing need or a use for that money at this time. So good. So what else am I seeing? If you're selling the property right now, just know that the best looking properties, the best locations, the best curb appeal, those properties are still moving. They're still getting multiple offers. People are still looking at moving to this location. We still have a strong jobs market. This is a healthy economy. You're in a good position. Just do a little legwork up front to get the best bang for your buck, right? If you're in the market right now, if you're buying, just know you should be buying for 7 to 10 years. Do not bank on appreciation just continuing into the future. We have no idea. We'll have another video about the upcoming recession, but we have no idea where the market is going. So you want to make sure that you can comfortably pay your mortgage payment, right? And live whatever lifestyle you want to live. Do not trust a real estate agent. Do not trust a mortgage professional to consult you about this process, because they are incentivized through sales. They have to make it. If a transaction doesn't happen, there is no income. So, should you take advice from this individual? I don't think so. That's why you have to have a plan once you get here, right? If your plan is to use your real estate property as a way to control your housing costs and to build equity over time, then you know what to do. Then you know what to do. Do not, I repeat, do not listen to anyone who tells you, hey, look, buy the house right now at this high interest rate and in the future refinance. If they tell you that, ask them if they're an economist, if they're some type of math genius, and if they're either one of those two things, why are they selling real estate? Why aren't they doing something else themselves? Anyway, that's it for today's show. I hope you liked it. I want to jump on, just have a conversation with you. The missus will be back on for our next show. We have a lot of great content coming to you all for our fall season. I think that you all are going to really like the fall content. We're going to be covering more of the Loudoun area with some of our content. We're going to dip down even into like the Prince William County, Arlington, city of Alexandria. So our goal is to make sure that we have like this complete body of work for you to make the best decision when you are moving to Northern Virginia. So I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer to answer any questions that you all may have. I appreciate Mr. McBain for dropping some questions in here. If you have any kids and it's the first day of school for them, did you cry or did you celebrate when they left? My oldest son is in 9th grade, so this is his first year of high school. So it really puts things into perspective how much longer I'm going to have my oldest son with me in the house. But we do have a plan for that, right? We do have a plan. Our plan is to at least my plan. My wife has a different plan, but my plan is to encourage my boys to go to George Mason University, which we got to do a video about George Mason University. Oh my God, George Mason University is it's not a it's not a school to play with, right? It's 35,000 students at that school. That's a huge school. You know, it's crazy. So just a quick aside about George Mason. So George Mason University, 35,000 students on their campus, several on-campus housing options. Their existence inside of Northern Virginia, it doesn't feel like anything because Northern Virginia is such a large area. It's crazy. I was just thinking about this, about how in most towns, excuse me, when you have a 35,000 plus school, 30,000 plus school, like the school becomes, an eco center or an employment base for the area. In Northern Virginia, it's not the same. It's just not the same. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's see. We have another comment. Love the content. Always dropping good information. Hawks Creek Club. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you staying with us. I know we haven't been on for a while. Like I said, summertime was a little busy for us with school. I mean, not with school, but with summer camps, traveling for vacation. Plus, we like to give ourselves a little break from making content so that we can come back to you all fresh, new perspective, and a lot of energy, right? So yeah, so we only have what, 4 more summers? No, 3 more summers. We have 10th grade summer, 11th grade summer, 12th grade summer, 3 more summers with my oldest son before he goes off to college. That's crazy. That is crazy. So my youngest son, so we're, like I said, we're at Hayfield Secondary School in the Kingstowne area, and Hayfield Secondary School is a 7th through 12th grade school. So I have a 7th grader and a 9th grader. My oldest son he's a bit of a popular kid, or he likes to be known. So my youngest son is going to have a good experience, I think, just being in his shadow until he leaves for college, which then I think I'm going to become a little bit concerned about him kind of finding his own network, building his own network and his own group of friends. But my goal is to encourage my kids to go to George Mason University. Tuition with on-campus tuition with room and board is about $25,000 today. So I know it's going to go up, but that is still relatively inexpensive for college or university. It's still $100,000 for us, one kid for 4 years. That just sounds crazy. But yeah. All right, we have another person. Hawks family. Oh yes, we are. So yeah, any other questions, post them down below. I'll stay on for a little bit longer. How crazy is it that the interest rates really slowed down the market? I gotta say, I started selling real estate in 2008. So I came into real estate right when the housing market was crashing, right? But I was in New Orleans at the time. And in New Orleans, we were still dealing with Hurricane Katrina, with the flooded and gutted properties, vacant land, renovation loans, stuff like that, right? So I haven't seen the government play such a huge role in the real estate market. And then we moved up to Northern Virginia in 2013, right? And since from 2013 until 2019, the market hasn't really been a robust market. It's really just been kind of meddling along, 3% here, 2% here, some years 1% appreciation. And then 2020 happened, and then we have like 10-12% appreciation. I mean, it was just it was surprising to see so many people kind of want to buy real estate given the state of the market, right? And so now to see the market, the demand decrease on a dime, it turned on a dime. This is just all amazing. I'm just, this is my 14th year in real estate, so I'm just amazed at how interesting this industry is, and there's so much to consider, to keep in mind. All right, we have another question. Man, I'm still waiting for the Plute townhouse and the new Stanley Martin single-family homes at Potomac Shores. I'm located in Arlington. Think about moving to Dumfries near end of the year. You know what? Given the state of the interest rates, I think you're going to have a good. Well, I don't know if you're already under contract, but if you're not already under contract, I think some of those builders are going to start to either decrease their prices or start to offer some incentives to start to move some of those units. We're already starting to see this in some of the other markets that are overbuilt. The problem with Northern Virginia, though, is that we just don't build that many houses because we really don't have that much land where people don't mind the commute, right? So even if you see, like you're talking about Dumfries is, it could be a hour long drive to the Pentagon, which is like one of our largest employers in the area. So how many people want to do an hour drive? Not that many, not that many. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who do it. It's just that it's not ideal, right? So I think that Northern Virginia does a good job of restricting the the new construction market, because if we start to see even more new construction development, let's say like in Stafford or west of Manassas, I think that that's going to start to put people into a tough position when they think about their quality of life, right? Because your quality of life is a combination of, yes, great schools, great employment, but also your commute, right? Because if you're on the road for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours one way, then how much will you enjoy living here? Not really that much. Also, I would say another challenge that some people have is that you come to this area because of great jobs, and because there's things to do in the DC area. The further out you move, then the more likely it is, or unlikely it is, that you'll really visit the attractions that make this place so expensive. So then well, yes, you're able to live here, you don't get the full experience. And so that's another challenge I think that people are facing, and why I think a lot of builders don't just go down 95 south and just try to build up as much property as they can. um yeah, but yeah, I mean, good luck with that. The Potomac Shores, I know we have a client that's moving into Potomac Shore. I think they're moving in like 2 weeks. No, not 2 weeks. I'm sorry, 2 months. They have one of the townhouses. So they're really excited about it. Their townhouse looks beautiful. Actually, I think I did a video walkthrough of the unit that they're purchasing. It's a lovely layout. 4 bedroom. It's not a townhouse, it's a duplex. Sorry about that. But it's a 4 bedroom, nice property. They're gonna have a nice view in the backyard. And also Potomac Shores has a lot of amenities. And it looks like Potomac Shores is moving forward with at least starting the development process of their town center. That's going to be an interesting one. All right, Hawks Cricket Club, not under contract at the moment, but I have gotten my pre-approval. Excellent, good job there. Get your pre-approval. Stay in the know about what's going on. I think that if these the interest rates, I don't know if you all have noticed or if you're keeping track of them, but they're kind of fluctuating between that 4.5% and 5.5% now. So that's kind of where the interest rates are going right now. So the challenge you have with new construction, though, is new construction, the build out time could be 9 to 12 months, really. So you have no idea where the interest rates are going to be at that time. One thing that is probably going to be opening up in the future, though, for anybody who's looking at new construction properties, is to stay in touch. Maybe get yourself a real estate agent, and have that person stay in touch with the builder about any units that are coming to completion, but then the buyer walks out. Walks away from the property and relinquishes their deposit. So then they have a newer property that's already ready for you. Now you're not going to be able to customize it, but you will be able to secure a property with knowing what the interest rate is going to be, versus rolling that dice into the future for 7 to 12 months. 9 to 12 months, right? Excellent. Keep the questions coming. I'll stay on as long as you all have questions. Yeah. What else? While we're talking, our family. So for our family vacation, we actually went to Chicago. Chicago is only like a 2.5 hour flight from the DC area, and we stayed for 14 days in the Magnificent Mile part of Chicago. And I gotta say, we went early July. So early July we went for 2 weeks, and Chicago is beautiful. Oh my God, Chicago in the summertime, gorgeous. But you could tell all the locals had nothing but negative things to say about the winter in Chicago. So I know winter must be no joke. I'm much more appreciative of the winters that we have in Northern Virginia after hearing all of the horror stories about Chicago winters. I mean, Chicago gets so cold that the river that runs through Chicago will sometimes freeze over. That's crazy. Parts of the lake will freeze. That's crazy. But it's a beautiful place. If you haven't been, check it out. I don't think you need to go 14 days, though. That was a little excessive. We didn't know how long we needed to go because there were so many things on our list things to do. Right, we got a couple of guides to go to the Chicago area, so we try to knock all that stuff out. But a lot of the stuff is a little redundant, and yeah. Let's see. We got another question. What are some of the pros and cons of using builder lenders? The main pro, and really I guess there's two pros. The builder lender will most likely not have any delays, because the builder lender is incentivized to close on a timely basis. The builder has some pull with that lender as well to make sure everything goes according to plan. Most of the builder contracts will say something about, if you use an outside lender, then we will charge you a per diem, right? A daily penalty for not closing on time, which, if you think about it, it's easy to not close on time because sometimes you don't know when you're going to close, right? Like a builder may be having a delay with windows, doors. They may have a delay. They may have all kind of problems, right? So you don't really know when you're going to close. So that's one incentive that you have for using a builder lender. The second incentive that most local lenders or even online lenders try to diminish, but it's hard to beat, is that a lot of the builders offer credits when you use their preferred lender. And sometimes those credits can be $10,000, $15,000. If they're giving you a large credit, it's super challenging for another lender to even compete with those lenders. Yes, they will say they can compete, but you got to watch those numbers. There's a lot of numbers being thrown at you in the financing process that can hide exactly how much you're paying for things. So I would say that's the pros and cons. Are the pro of using a builder lender is that you can the builder has more control over the process. So that means that if you're supposed to close at a certain time, you will most likely hit that time with the builder's lender, and you won't have to pay any out-of-pocket fee if the builder's lender doesn't perform in a timely basis. If you use your own lender, you may have to pay a penalty, right? And then the next thing is the credit, whatever credit that they're offering, whatever incentive they're offering for you to use their preferred lender. Oh, this is great. Keep the questions coming. Like I said, I'll stay on until the questions die down. But yeah, Chicago, if you haven't been, check it out. Chicago is impressive. It's impressive. You got to stay in the Magnificent Mile, though. Magnificent Mile. My boys really enjoyed their time. So they were 12 and 14 when we went. I do think that Chicago is a place that you should probably take older kids. So like preteens, teenagers, just because a lot of the activities are more museums and sightseeing stuff that, to be honest with you, most younger kids are just really not interested in. They're just not interested in. It's sort of like with those people who bring two toddlers to Disney World. I mean, really, you're going to Disney World and you just have somebody screaming with you. Oh, another thing too, since we're still here, as you can see, I shaved off the goatee. Also have on a little button down shirt with a little tie. We're going to class this thing up a little bit. this microphone we won't really use in future videos when we have two of us, but when I have just one person session, or if you or when you fill out the perfect home questionnaire, I also use this little mic setup. Perfect home questionnaire is how we assist people who are coming into the market, either you're a first-time home buyer, move-up buyer, or relocating to the area, or even if you're selling your property. There's a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill it out, and you'll see this set up on a one-to-one basis. All right, all right. Well, I think that's it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us. Like I said, we are in our fall season, so you're going to see some more content from us. If you have any content ideas, always put them in the comment section, and we add every content idea to our list, and then one day you'll probably see us do a video about it. Until next time, take care, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.